Welcome to Ragas. Myself and Cole were at Villa Clave Festival. We had the privilege to be seated next to a few, let's call it union representatives, and the discussion, as it always goes about, is what boys to look at in certain positions. And then it was quite interesting because it's not just there, but we have general conversations about what do we look for. What makes a good prop? What makes a good hooker? What makes a good loose head or a tight head? And it was interesting to hear what the union reps or scouts actually look for. So we decided let's delve deeper into this topic, not just to educate ourselves, but those members out there that are interested to listen. And today we'll be discussing what do we look for in the front row.
Yeah. Very interesting. I just want to mention the previous program from Can You Kid Take the Heat? There was a lot of comments from the smaller schools, the tier 2 and the tier 3 schools, regarding my attitude that if your kid has got really talent, put him in a tier 1 school. Unfortunately, this came up once again today. There was a kid that was in a tier 2 school. They played against a tier 1 school. He was on his way to be contracted. But this was the first game that he was measured against a tier 1 school. And they withdrew the proposal to the kid today because he simply, And everybody confirmed with this boy that he has the talent and everything. He's simply not conditioned as he would have been when he was if he was in a tier 1 school. And secondly, the pace at what they played normally and they were played again this weekend just took him out of the thing. So unfortunately, that's the thing. If you're not in a tier 1 school, your chance to get contracted is really becoming quite slim. But what are we looking at your front row? Your props, very interesting. Normally, personally, I look for a tight head prop, and I balance my front row that's sloping down to the loose head, and that is not the case anymore. All the scouts and everybody said they prefer, because of you're not supposed or you're not allowed to punch in with your props anymore with your front row. The advantage of a taller 3 is disappeared. So what they want now, they prefer a shorter tight head. We'll get to the other stuff of him. So because then the shorter the tight head is, the less the chance that the loose head will get underneath him and dominate him. Interesting, that's how the rugby changes according to the laws, and that also changes the type of player that is preferred for that position. But let's get to the loose head. He must be able to dominate, so he must be a good scrummer. And that's very strange because all of these guys said he must be able to do his basic jobs. But these days we see a lot of, we'll get to the hookers also now, guys that can't even do the basics. All the unions said we're willing to work with the kids, but if his technique and that is not developed at grade 12, he is in serious problems. Then he must go to university or where somebody is willing to give some attention to him.
So there's no coaching taking place?
There is coaching taking place, but on a different level. They don't have time
to teach the basics.
They will look at your technique and make 1 or 2 small alterations. There's no ways that they can spend hours and hours to teach you the basics of scrumming. All right, so your loose head, the length doesn't matter anymore. He must be strong. He must not be fat. That's absolutely a no-no. He must be your second hooker. So he must be active.
Very mobile.
And also very interesting, they're looking for an explosive player. So if he takes the ball and take it up, he doesn't have to be fast. He must just, when he take up the ball, he must be explosive. He must make 5 or 10 meters when he carries the ball.
And draw defenders.
So that's your loose head. Your hooker, at this stage, they prefer the taller hooker, Malcolm Marx apparently started that way of thinking, because they see him now as the arrow of the scrum. But strangely enough, 3 of the 4 unions said not really anymore. They're looking once again, he must be able to find his line-out jumpers, but he must be able to find the line-out jumpers in the back.
Interesting.
So again, your kit must be developed at grade 11, grade 12 when the scout starts looking at. Don't tell your kid, we'll work out on your throw-ins in the next 2 or 3 years, or the unions will help you. Definitely a no. If you can't find your jumpers, they don't have time to teach you that. And that once again comes to BMT. Can you take the heat? Can you control? So yeah, so they're looking for line-out jumpers, work rate, and ball. He must have some ball sense, because they're looking for that guy to carry the ball like a flanker and that kind of stuff. So that's your new hooker. Not necessarily the tallest in the whatchamacallit, in the scrum or in the front row, but you must be explosive, a hell of a work rate, and you must be able to carry, you must be able to run with the ball and not go dead with the ball.
I just want to add there, I've noticed, and I'm not going to name names, but if you've watched the top schools play, there's a certain hooker that is becoming an excellent ball stealer, doing the actual traditional flank work by turning the ball at the ruck and at the tackles. So,
yeah, but that's not important for them, because
no, but it's just, you know,
it's a nice,
comes with a
nice add-on. But we discussed another loose head this morning, and the whole thing, nobody wants to contract him, and he's crying because everybody likes the loose head. He's running brilliantly with the ball, but when it comes scrum time, he's simply useless. Nobody wants to touch the kid.
No.
As simple as that. All right, and then your tight head. Your tight head is, I always say tight head is born. He must have that, what do you call skill in
skill?
No, skill. His eyes must look...
Squint.
Squint, yeah. You're either born a tight head or you're not. Your attitude and everything must... Yeah, and the guy said you must not be stupid. You must be intelligent. And all of them used Carlo Sardi. What they want from a tight head primarily, at this stage you get penalties from scrums. So he must be able to dominate his loose head and force penalties. Because if you're in the 22 or the half of the opposition side, you get a scrum and your tight head can dominate, you will get a penalty and an easy 3 points.
Or a good lineup.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, you're thinking now like
Don't worry.
like Paul Gim. But yeah, so that's your tight head. He doesn't need to be that athletic. Like I said, they all referred, the new thing is a Carlo Sardi.
Yeah.
Your typical bulky guy mustn't be fat. He must be able to defend. All that they also look at. His technique is very important. But he must be able to scrum and earn you penalties when you need it.
So it's back to basics, actually. You know,
yeah, but it's
good scrummaging first, mobility later. Yeah.
Yeah, your loose head and your hooker must be mobile and everything to run with the ball and everything. My question was, and Carlo Sardi is a prime example of that. He cannot keep up with when the game really becomes fast. What do you do with them? He says, the general remark was, I need him to be able to move across the field. He doesn't have to be at each loose scrum and everything, but his main job is I want penalties from the guy when I need penalties. So if I call for a penalty in the opposition's 22, or if I'm on defending and I've got a scrum on my try line, this guy needs to be able to earn penalties through his scrummaging.
There you go.
So that's basically, a lot has changed. Like I said, I prefer the taller tight head because, yeah, with the punch in and the punch into the scrum, he gave you an advantage. My question to the guys was also, but your tight head these days stands at the back of the line out. So he must be a tall guy, otherwise it would be easy to dominate him when the ball is overthrown and everything. No, it's the tight head these days must be able to scrum. They're looking for tight heads that can earn them penalties from where they can attack.
There we go.
I hope that answers. You've got any questions?
No, I'm fine. I've learned a lot today again, as always.
So that's what the general feeling today is. Tomorrow it can change again. One or two changes in the rules of the game, and we'll look again at a different type of player, different build of player. But today, if your kid is playing the front row, scrum, 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 and then as you move to your right, no, to your left, it becomes less important. It becomes more important to have handling skills and everything. Technique is quite important, and physicality is important. So they're looking for stocky guys that can carry the ball, not your normal fatties and everything that everybody thought is fine. So the question came, let's leave that one also.
All right.
Great stuff. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.